Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Just Us Marks Wrestling Recap Show. I am the Athletic Geek, joined on the other end of the tin cannon string this week by EZ
Hello.
and CJ.
Yo.
And it is all out weekend, week, or what do you want to call it?
Pre-week?
Pre-week, yeah.
Weekend.
We can call this the buy-in now.
Yeah, this is the buy. This is the buy-in to the buy-in of All Out.
They don't have a buy-in at All Out anymore.
Yeah, it's 0 hour, which is what they called it at All In, but it wasn't on YouTube. It was on WGN.
Yeah, it's an ROH thing.
Yeah.
It actually would be interesting if, they had the buy-in on TBS or TNT or honestly on WGN.
I don't know if that'd be feasible now.
What? It's not like Discovery are going to care. Because
no, but like there may be like some WGN issues.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So that might be the problem. So anyway, we got All Out predictions this week.
But what about Clash of the Castle? Because that's happening too.
Clash of the Castle might be a good. Well, you want to do Clash of the Castle predictions?
I don't know if you guys are going to do it. Sure,
yeah, we can do some Clash of the Castle predictions.
Are we going to do a contest?
You want to do a contest for Clash of the Castle? This will just be for fun.
At least shockingly, Clash of the Castle is going to be shorter than All Out.
Yes, it should
Word.
be. Yeah, 6 matches compared to 14.
It's 14 matches.
There's 14 matches? Are you fucking kidding me?
Counting the 0 hour,
you.
yes, there's 14 matches, so...
And we still have 1 more hour of TV, and I'm not convinced that they won't change it.
Okay. Oh, sweet Jesus.
Yeah. But if you've never seen the show before...
Yeah, keep going.
This is the Just Us Marks Wrestling Recap Show. I met CJ locally. I met EZ at All In and StarCast 4 years ago. We love
Before
wrestling.
they had 14 matches on the card.
They didn't have 14 matches on All In, though.
This is literally the 4th anniversary of All In.
Correct.
So is there going to be 15, 16, 17? They're just going to like add 10, to the year from now on, or what?
Let's see. All In had 11 matches, counting the Battle Royale. Or actually, counting the tag match and the Battle Royale. Over the budgets.
That's still better than 14. But we love wrestling. We love talking pro wrestling. We love sharing our love of pro wrestling with each and every one of you out there. However, just like each and every one of you out there, we are just fans. Our opinions are that of any other fan. We avoid insider terms. We're not insiders. We're not wrestlers. We's a bunch of marks. And
we should start adding we also complain about pro wrestling.
Well,
we love complaining about our love of pro wrestling.
We love questioning the fandom and why we do it. We love all that stuff.
I feel like that's just implied by saying that we are wrestling fans. Like, obviously, we like to complain about wrestling.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, big week for both WWE and AEW. We'll talk a little bit of Raw. This was kind of the first show since the big, change in leadership, in my opinion. I know, CJ, I watched it with you. What did you think of Raw?
I mean, I didn't think it was bad. It wasn't what the internet kind of hyped it to be, which is kind of a theme this week anyway. But it wasn't wholly disappointing as much as you think it was. Mostly one match made like everything disappointing about Raw this week to most people, but I thought overall it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad, but it definitely was kind of like just a show. When you're hitting home runs and doubles for on your at bats, and then you get to a base hit or a bunt that just that you're out at first, but you advance the runners. It just doesn't look as good compared to the big hits you were getting in previous weeks. You know what I mean?
I will give them some credit. The Sami Zayn, Bloodline, and now Kevin Owens intertanglement deal.
That was good.
They are setting this up to be a potential, like, just total grand slam, knock it out of the park. Like, they're putting runners on the base. And I love it. It's the most entertaining thing to me. Sami Zayn is just super duper entertaining. And
Where did they have Raw this week?
Where was it? They came back from Canada. Where were they?
Yeah, they have to be in the East Coast because, come on, you gotta fly out to England soon.
Where was Raw?
Yeah, they're flying out, like, now.
Okay, so SmackDown's gonna be in London or something.
No, SmackDown was taped. So this week's SmackDown is taped. And it was taped
That'll
last
put
Friday.
a lot of butts in the seats.
Well, I mean, it did put the butts in the seats.
I know.
What is August 29th?
Yeah, for me, it's like I'm still, like, slowly but surely just gonna start watching, like, WWE regularly again. I just get busy with other stuff.
Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah, because Kurt Angle was back.
Yes.
You know, the surprise that could have been a surprise.
You want to get people to, you got to tell people because it did, you want to get that rating. Similar to what another company did about,
a week ago.
We're going to talk about the other company later, and I don't have nice words.
Yeah. But, it wasn't a bad show. I like the Bloodline Kevin Owens segment. I liked, they did kind of a continuation of the Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory storyline.
They made some very good, like, realistic points with The Miz and Dexter Lumis. Like, he got released because The Miz wouldn't talk to anybody about what happened during the kidnapping. So there's no charges pressed because The Miz won't talk about it. He's been released. That's why we see him, which is, I think, the first time a wrestling company has ever explained why someone can be arrested and have charges pressed against them and just be out and cross state lines and be fine.
So similar to Triple H breaking into Randy Orton's house during that build up to WrestleMania 25.
Yeah, kind of. Like, I just appreciated, like, that little bit. Like, they were just being realistic. Like, you have to talk. Like, you're literally making it worse by not talking about it. And The Miz won't talk about it. And so now he's getting paranoid about it. And that's perfectly, like, they're doing a long-term...
It makes sense.
A slow build.
There isn't... as we're, as wrestling fans, we have to, like, turn off our brain with some of the logic. But this time they're actually going like, hey, here's a reason that we have some of this ridiculous logic that you got to keep up with. So I appreciate that. But, yeah, they did a continuation of the Gargano stuff, which, I kind of would like for them to have been, like, done this in the arena with fans, because they did it, like, as a pre-tape before the show. Like, from the stands with no fans, and, I kind of get you don't want to do the Sting thing and just burn everybody out for, like, nothing, but on the flip side, it's kind of like a, hey... He capitalized on having this guy a little bit, but...
Even a bit. Maybe he needed to go home and see the baby because he's going to the UK.
Maybe. They did, like, kind of a UFC-style, in different rooms, across the camera kind of interview with Rollins and Riddle. And it was a good segment. I'm not the biggest Matt Riddle fan, but like this was a well done segment.
They gave him a really good reason to be serious, and we haven't ever really seen Matt Riddle. Easy, you're going to be super stoked because he got his first name back.
Yeah, I saw on the WWE YouTube. It's like, oh, finally.
He is actually Matt Riddle, presented Matt Riddle on the screen. They gave him a reason to be serious, talking about, like, real life things that are kind of going on with him and his family. They're taking real shots, and they presented it like off camera, like, oh, this is what happens when the camera cut, and we were taking down the equipment, and Seth Rollins wasn't Jokey Mick child napper from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang anymore. He was like a legitimate guy that said some shit, and Matt Riddle got really heated about it, and they bleeped some F-bombs, which is something the other company didn't do this week. But it was serious, and that's not something that we normally see in a really long time from either of these guys, honestly. So that was kind of nice too.
Yeah, it kind of. I don't really follow UFC super duper closely, but one fight I was really interested in was the first Daniel Cormier versus John Jones fight. You know, and I watched like the build up to that fight where they had like a similar instance where they were doing an interview like this, and then the cameras weren't rolling, and they like were talking more shit and taking personal jabs and things like that at one another. You know, so like I kind of got those vibes. But now we go to the main event that stirred up a lot of, you know, a lot of issues and a lot of problems, and a lot of people didn't like the result here, including me. But it was Aaliyah and Raquel Rodriguez defeated Io Sky and Dakota Kai in the Women's Tag Team Championship tournament. And yeah, this decision was not well received by a lot of folks. So I'm going to let the person that didn't mind it talk first.
I don't totally hate it yet. I'm going to let it play out. It's not the immediate call that I would make, but I feel like they've got plans. And I feel like if Sasha and Naomi are really coming back, this is the way you give them their belt back, even though a lot of people aren't going to like the fact that Sasha would be back in a tag team.
Well, it's not like it's the first time Sasha's done championship belt hopping before.
Not at all. Like, if you don't have immediate plans for her to be in the Raw or SmackDown title picture, then I feel like this is a fine way to bring her back, and that's a perfectly acceptable team for them to beat right on a comeback. And then, you know, you can either team them with Bayley and have a huge stable, or have them go against Bayley. And I think either one works well, and I think that's kind of, maybe that's why I don't hate it, is because I really feel like that's what's happening.
Yeah, I get that portion of it, but, you know, I said it when it happened. You know, when the Outsiders got their first shot at the WCW tag titles, the Outsiders won. Because you wanted to build up the NWO. So
they won a lot of matches, and they're probably going to win on Saturday.
But then they have the gold to back it up and go like, hey, you know, they can kind of keep they say they want control, you know, hey, we're in control, we got these belts, dum-da-dum-da-dum, you know. This, I get the let it play out crowd, but I also, even with Triple H at the helm, I get what everybody's saying about, here we go again. It's still WWE that does these sort of things. You know, when you have the being let down by WWE history, I can see why people will revert back to the, oh, here we go, WWE doing stupid shit again. I see where they're coming from. Do I think all hope is lost? I'm going to give a cautiously optimistic no. But do I think it was a good call? Also no.
Should we do like a top 10 times WWE let us down, or will that just take forever?
That would just take forever.
I mean, if you only had 10.
Only 10 choices.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one because you can only come up with 10.
Well, it'd be tough for you to find the top 10, but...
Yeah, because I'm sure
Other-
there's like... Because there's at least 30 I can probably think of, but...
Other than Lars Sullivan, Triple H as a booker hasn't ever truly, truly let me down. Just presenting Lars Sullivan was a letdown, but
Lars was a douche anyway.
Being in the 200 section in the crowd at Chicago and seeing him just completely flub the Black Mass kick was epically horrible. But that's not Triple H's fault.
Well,
he shouldn't put him in that match, but...
The Gargano Ciampa feud was one of his biggest misses as a head man in charge of creative to me.
First time around was a great feud. The second time was like,
But from there, and there's no contest on this one. This one's just all for fun. There is a pay-per-view or a premium live event. That's NBC's.
That's right.
NBC's way of wanting to put things. A premium live event.
If we're allowed to bring the wrestling term back, WWE does have the power. They can say pay-per-view again.
NBC.
I really think it's a Peacock thing.
Yeah, Peacock.
That's a Nick Khan and a Peacock NBC thing.
Yeah.
Now, what about for those who don't live in the United States?
It might still be called pay-per-view.
There you go.
But yeah, 6 matches. So this one will be a little easier to get through, at least in terms of time. Starting with Edge and Rey Mysterio with Dominic versus the Judgment Day of Damian Priest and Finn Balor. CJ, who you picking and why in this one?
I'm picking the Judgment Day because you got to, and I'm going to add in that Dominic becomes the submissive to Rhea Ripley instead of the Dom. And
Yo,
you're welcome. He joins the Judgment Day and helps them get the win.
That's also my pick. Easy. What about you?
Judgment Day, because seriously, you fucked up SummerSlam. I'm sorry to say, like, as much as I love Rey and Dominic, but Judgment Day should have won that. Like, you need a whole new baddie stable on the rise. You got one right here. So stop having them lose matches. Although I'm also quite disappointed, why are we not getting Demon Balor for this?
The Demon's dead. He fell off the top rope.
Yeah.
You're in England.
They killed him
Wales. You're in Wales. This is sort of a homecoming for Finn. This could have been awesome for him.
Well, they're also supposed to be bad, and the demon gets cheered.
He can have a bad demon.
The demon is so cool that we'll get cheered. You don't want that. They're already going to probably cheer him, so you need to come up with every conceivable way to not let him be cheered.
Mm-hmm.
Next match is Gunther versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. Easy, who you picking and why?
I don't even know. I want to say Gunther. It's like, God, just again, the name is still bothering me. But I'll just go with them. Not like it's the first time that's an Irish have been screwed over in England or Wales. Again, sorry to our British fans out there.
CJ, who you picking in this one?
Oh, this is kind of difficult, but I think I will go with Walter. Walter comes back and wins.
That would be cool. I'm going to go Gunther because I don't think he'll come back as Walter, but we'll see.
I doubt that happens, but...
By the way, it appears that the person known as Butch will probably be getting his name back again. Because his son has always been the bruiserweight.
He wrestled in his old bruiserweight gear.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's exciting.
Next, we have the aforementioned Matt Riddle versus Seth freaking Rollins match. CJ, who you picking and why in this one?
I'm going to go Seth freaking Rollins. Just, I think that he's kind of being built up for whoever wins the title.
Okay, easy.
I'm actually going to go the opposite. I'm going to go with Matt Riddle for this.
Okay. I'm with CJ. I'm going with Rollins because I feel like regardless of who wins the championship, I feel like Rollins is the a credible challenger, especially with Cody still being on the shelf. All right. Next match, 6-woman tag, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss and Asuka versus Bayley, Dakota Kai and Io Sky. Easy, who you picking and why?
Team Bayley, because come on, you need to build these ladies up.
Okay, CJ?
It's 100% Bayley team.
I'm going to go Bayley team just
Absolutely.
because, like, please don't mess up
Control.
twice in 1 week with these. Please. Next up for the SmackDown Women's Championship, we got Liv Morgan, the champion, versus Shayna Baszler. CJ, who you picking and why?
Please let it be Shayna. Just please let it be Shayna.
Yeah, I'm with CJ on this. Shayna, for fuck's sake.
It's going to be Shayna across the board because I feel like there's... Even though I don't think Ronda's the best wrestler, and I'm not the world's biggest Ronda Rousey fan, there's money in Shayna versus Ronda at some point.
Like,
So
how has Shayna not been women's champion on the WWE brand? Like, she is my favorite NXT women's champ. How the fuck has she not been a champion winner on the Raw or SmackDown?
Do you want the honest answer to that?
Because Vince didn't give a shit?
Because she's not blonde and he didn't find her physically attractive?
Please tell me that's a real quote.
It's not a real quote, but I guarantee you that's the reason.
yeah.
Liv Morgan's blonde and pretty, and she really
And
didn't give a shot.
Shayna is not the same? Like, come on here.
Shayna's not interested.
Like, she was freaking tag champ with Nia Jax. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
I'm honestly, before Vince left, she was on my list of probably going to get released.
Yeah.
Which is, I love Shayna Baszler. I do. She is one of my favorites. Legitimate. She's a great wrestler. She's a fantastic fighter, and she's got a good personality. Like I dig her, but
I feel like
she was
after
on the list.
WWE, she's kind of done. Like, she's 42, so it's like, what more do you want to prove?
Triple H was high on her. He made her a very dominant NXT champion. He made her a monster. So I've got a lot of faith in what he can do for her now.
Please, for fuck's sake, let it be Shayna.
Yeah.
Liv, I love you, but no.
All right. Finally, the main event for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns. Easy, who you picking and why?
I feel like this will unfortunately be Roman Reigns. I feel like they're going to keep this reign going. But
Roman Reigns. No.
Yeah,
I feel like it's got to be Drew. This has got to be Drew's make good from his WrestleMania moment. I don't know that he can come back from a loss.
Also, there's going to be some rain in Cardiff, so this will be fun. I'm literally looking at their weather right now, and yeah, 7 p.m. on their time, 70% chance of rain, so that mat is going to be slippery.
This is the hardest one to pick because on one hand, you do need to make good with Drew.
Oh, wait, I'm wrong. They have a roof. Never mind. They have a trackball. All right, keep going.
For the, basically, not really getting a real WrestleMania moment and his whole title reign being during the heart of the pandemic and no fans and all that. So what better way to make it up to him than let him win the belt in Europe and be able to get a moment like that and at least be able to have one moment of winning the championship in front of a crowd. But on the flip side, Roman Reigns carrying that belt to WrestleMania to lose to Cody is also a big deal. So
I think you can still get the story out of Cody with somebody else as the champion, though. It's like maybe Drew has it for a little while, and then Seth wins the title.
Or Theory or somebody.
I think Theory stays with the Money in the Bank until Cody wins.
Yeah, I think Theory still cashes in on Cody, and Cody gets like a 2-minute reign.
Yeah, they Daniel Bryan Cody.
Yeah. I'm going to cautiously go with Drew because it's a new era. You know, they wouldn't have just more disappointment like this. But it is still WWE. So this one's a hard one. This is a good, intriguing match because I don't know who will win. So I will say that much. All right. So we go from WWE predictions to AEW predictions. 14 matches.
It's time to start drinking.
Yeah. Hopefully alcohol is affordable at the Sears Center.
Think we should just bring some shots beforehand?
Maybe not shots, but I'll drink beer like I did last year, and it wasn't even as long last year.
Well, then I have to stand in line and pray that I don't pee my pants.
I just don't do shots anymore.
I'm doing shots.
We shall have better luck than the fucking concessions last week at Wolstein Center. They were slow as fucks, and I didn't even get anything. So I'm like, fuck it. I just want to watch the show.
The first match on the 0 hour buy-in pre-show thing is a match I really want to see. Tomohiro Ishii versus Eddie Kingston. CJ, who you picking and why?
Well, let's go with Eddie, because why wouldn't you? It's Eddie.
Yep. I'm going with Eddie because you kind of... It's not like you've brought in Ishii as part of this and, made him a monster that, is not beatable in an AEW ring. So, why not Eddie? Easy?
Yeah, you guys really want to ask me who?
Yes?
Okay. Yes, I will go with Eddie Kingston because I am a stan of Eddie.
Okay. Next match for the Ocean Spray Pacific Championship, the AEW All-Atlantic Championship. The challenger, Kip Sabian versus Pac. I do want to point out, 1 year after seeing Kip Sabian like this, in this form, we get to see him wrestle, so that's kind of neat. He's wrestling the champion Pac. Easy, who you picking and why?
Pac, but I still hope the championship dies.
CJ?
I really want Kip to win. He gave me a very personalized and free signing picture, and I appreciate that. So go, Kip.
I should change my answer and just say Penelope Ford.
Penelope Ford wins either way because she is at home with him. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go with Pac retaining just because it's too soon to change that belt, even if it is meaningless. And now for the FTW Championship, Angela Parker versus the champion Hook. Do we need to that's not, it's Hook across the board, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's Cool Hand Luke.
Angela's going to die. I really hope it's a squash match.
I hope it is too, because then that's just a short match, and speed some of this
Okay,
up.
we'll make this as a bonus bet. Is it over or under 5 minutes?
I think it'll still be over because like 6 or 7 is still over.
Well, are we counting like bell to bell, or are we counting entrances?
Just like as soon as the bell rings. We're not counting entrances.
Under 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
under
hooked.
5.
According to Wikipedia, match 4 is Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. CJ, who you picking and why in this one?
This is for the soul of Garcia. This is the Garcia on a pole match.
No, this is the battle of the custody for
Yeah,
Daniel Garcia.
It's a Garcia
Garcia
on a pole match. I'm going with Danielson.
Okay, easy.
I'm actually going to go with Jericho on this one.
I am going to
Not
go...
just because of Canadian stuff. It's like, no, I actually think it's going to be Jericho.
I think it's going to go Jericho because I don't think the resolution to Garcia's like inner conflict is going to be over in just one pay-per-view. I feel like we're going to have some not so nice things to say about AEW Creative here before too long, so I'm going to like say some nice things about AEW Creative right now. I feel like there's life in this that they can stretch out, and I think Garcia still sides with Jericho in this one, and we have a little bit more of a burn and a build till eventually Garcia leaves the Jericho Appreciation Society.
I'm going to say it is way too soon to already split up the JAS because it's like, what is this, Pinnacle?
I don't think that they're going to split up the whole JAS, but I do think that Garcia is going to turn on Jericho.
I think he'll turn on Jericho, but
I'll say full year.
eventually.
Full
I
year.
think it's going to be Sunday.
Okay.
We'll see.
Fatal 4-way match for the interim AEW Women's World Championship. Hikaru Shida versus Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Easy, who you picking and why in this one?
I'm actually going with Jamie Hayter, and she turns on Britt.
Okay.
Oof, that's a death sentence.
Yeah.
I think that Jamie Hayter is going to play a pivotal role in this, but we are going to get our DMD champion back.
Yeah, I'm going with Britt Baker. She's...
Y'all are just being haters.
No. No, I feel like Britt Baker wins, and this sets up her and Hayter down the road.
Or it could be the other way around. Hayter wins, and that sets up Jamie and Britt down the road.
You want the heroine in this situation to be chasing, in my opinion, not being chased.
You can set it up to where Jamie is like set up, like she's about to pin Shida, and like she's going for the cover, and Britt like jumps in, screws her over, dives on, and wins the championship. That gives Hayter a babyface turn. It gives Britt legitimate heat with Hayter, and then you have a program with them going forward. And everybody pray for Jamie Hayter after that, because God knows if you're not involved with Britt Baker in this women's division, you don't matter.
Yeah. Can't really. You're not going to draw any ratings. That honor goes to CM Punk. I'm only quoting the owner of the company.
Talk about that later.
Yep. 6-man tag match. The House of Black versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro. CJ, who you picking and why?
I don't know how anybody goes against fucking Sting, because he's gonna win. Gotta win. It's in his contract.
All right, what about EZ? What do you think?
House of Black, because why the hell do you have these guys on a losing streak lately?
They don't care.
Like, I'm sorry, like, I was shocked that Dark Order won. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Because I had House of Black versus the Elite for my finals, which honestly would have been
Well,
freaking ass.
more on that in a minute, as far as that point. But
Come on.
I'm going to go Darby, Sting, and Miro because I don't see Sting's team taking a loss. It hasn't. If they weren't going to lose to the Bullet Club, they're not going to lose to the House of Black.
It's not like Sting has lost before on AEW.
He hasn't.
Who's he lost to?
Wait, really?
I'm
I know.
I'm almost positive.
Yeah, Sting hasn't lost him. His team has not lost a match yet.
Sure as shit ain't not on a pay-per-view.
Next match, according to Wikipedia, is for the TBS Championship. Jade Cargill versus Athena. Easy, who you picking and why?
Athena, please. We gotta end the damn streak. And also, Athena would be a pretty awesome TBS champ.
CJ, what about you? Who you picking?
Jade's gonna win.
My heart wants to say Athena, but my head is saying there's still some money in this streak, and it's
Okay, who's gonna be the one that actually does defeat her streak?
Chris Statlander.
when she comes back.
When we're at like 100-0.
Yeah.
I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jade retaining in this one. Next match, according to Wikipedia, is Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage, the most well-built-up match on this card. CJ, who you picking and why?
What's the match?
Jungle Boy and Christian.
Oh, it's Jungle Boy. I'm sorry, Jungle Boy's not wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Jack
Perry
Perry
is wrestling.
fighting, and he's gonna win the fight.
I agree. I'm going with Jungle Boy Jack Perry in this one. Easy, what about you?
I'll go with Jungle Boy as well. Also, why on earth is this just a singles match? These guys want to murder each other. This should have been a Chicago street fight.
Maybe they're building up to a bigger match down the road.
They still have an hour of television that they could just decide to pepper in some gimmicks. So
Yep.
it's fine.
Oh.
To me, the biggest why are we having this match on the card match, and that's not a knock on any of the talents involved, but it's kind of,
Don't you say it.
no, it's not what you think I'm going to say. It is
Okay.
Wardlow and FTR versus Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. This is the what
Okay,
the,
that's
and the reason this is what the fuck is because, first of all, there's enough unused talent in AEW. And the Motor City Machine Guns are one of my all-time favorite tag teams. I love this team. I've loved this team since 2007. But why are they bringing in a team that's not with the company when they could be using anyone else that is currently under contract with them and giving them... If you're going to insist on doing this match, why not give two other contracted talent that could use a pay-per-view match?
How about 2.0? Like, fuck Angela Parker having a match with Hook. Jay Lethal could have had a little...
Nah, you maybe don't want to cross the streams with the JAS, but like...
I was going to say, he makes a deal with JAS for one match and borrows 2.0.
Private party.
Private Party, yeah.
Actually, okay, I'll do it better. Yeah, Private Party, what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Roddy Family Office is...
Yeah, that's
just-
done. Yeah, that's all done. So, seriously. And then
I
also,
love it.
I understand that there's a trios championship and Kenny Omega's back and all that good stuff, but you're not gonna keep the belts on the Young Bucks to have kind of the winner takes all at All Out in Chicago that would be hot for tag team wrestling and would bring out the passion of the Young Bucks fans and the FTR fans. okay, and again, you're not going to have Wardlow defend if you're going to put Wardlow in a match, it's not going to be a TNT title match. You're not going to give him something to sink his teeth into and salvage a disappointing reign. Like, all this hype and all these different things, you're not going to do... Okay. Like, I'm a fan of everybody involved in this match. But, just... If you're going to want to insist on having an ungodly amount of matches on one card, why not let them both... why not split this up to let both teams... Why not... If you're going to insist on bringing Motor City Machine Guns and you don't want to do the fucking Young Bucks and FTR, do FTR and the Motor City Machine Guns for the ROH tag belts. That's a better match. Do Wardlow and Jay Lethal with a stipulation.
That would imply match number 15 be Wardlow against Jay Lethal.
This saying, like, there's so many, like... If you're not going to do what can actually mean something, this is a Dynamite match. This is a Rampage match. Not saying it's going to be bad, but this is not something that needs to take up time on a fucking pay-per-view. It really isn't.
This should be the Rampage main event tomorrow, actually.
Yes! But that aside, who are we picking?
Wardlow, FTR, Pinnacle.
Yep.
Wardlow beats one of the Guns, so
David
you can... Yeah.
But these are my homies.
Alright. Next match is the Casino Ladder match for a future AEW World Championship shot. The ROH champion, Claudio Castagnoli, the ROH Pure champion, Wheeler Yuta. So those belts also not, we want people to care about Ring of Honor when it comes back, but they get no defense or representation other than being in a match like this. And look, and I'm also going to say, I'm going to say this. Look, I get it, but remember, I remember back at the Royal Rumble 2008. Already WWE CW had kind of lost every bit of its luster that was still left. But a lot of us that were watching at the time really felt like, okay, now finally there's nothing about this brand that means anything anymore. When Chavo Guerrero, the ECW champion, was in the Royal Rumble, when the previous year, when Bobby Lashley was ECW champion, he was in the Royal Rumble and was actually one of the champions that the winner Undertaker could have faced at WrestleMania. So that's when we kind of knew it's like, okay, so this definitely isn't considered one of the big belts anymore, and you're not even again. I'm sounding like a catch-22, and I'm complaining to complain, but saying there's too many matches, but also, if you want to have all these matches, but yet you want to put two of your champions from another brand that you're hoping that people care about and you're hoping that people find important, yet they're in a ladder match, which might be a good match, but
they're probably going to lose.
Yeah.
One of them is going to lose.
Yep.
At least.
But moving on from that sidebar, Penta El Zero Miedo, Rey Fenix, Rouge, Andrade El Idolo, Dante Martin, and the Joker. Predicting the Joker is not part of the competition, but for this one, everybody pick who they think's going to win, and also put in your prediction for the Joker, starting with CJ.
Oh, I hope that the Joker is MJF. I think no matter what, the Joker wins.
Okay. Now I'm also say this for the contest. You can't just pick the Joker. If you're gonna pick the Joker, you gotta pick who the only way
you gotta be accurate on the Joker.
Yeah, you can't just say I picked the Joker and then it end up being like John Cena and then oh hey, I was right. It's like no, you if you're gonna pick the Joker, you have to specify. The only way you have to specify the Joker is if you're picking the Joker. So it's no extra point in this one for guessing the Joker. But unless you pick it, then for 1 point you gotta be accurate in your Joker. You can't take the easy way out. You gotta be able to get this one.
Can't take my way out.
That's good.
Man, the day I hear John Cena's music at AEW,
I'll
hell
shit
will
a
freeze
brick.
over. Hell will die.
Yeah.
Hell is dead. There's no more hell. Even heaven's like, what the fuck is going on down there?
Well, who's your Joker and who you picking?
I thought we were still talking with CJ. Okay, yeah, I'm with CJ that I want to say, like, the Joker is going to be MJF, but I feel like I think he's going to be used for something else later. But anyways, I'm actually going to go with Andrade. I think, like, come on, like, he's been here for so long already. I mean, I know he was here during the pandemic, but that feels forever. But come on. Andrade was an NXT champion, for God's sake. And also, on the subject on the Ring of Honor stuff, this literally could have been a great super weekend for AEW to have a Ring of Honor show on Saturday.
Yep.
And then you have an AEW.
I'm sure there's a small arena in Chicago that could have been booked for a Ring of Honor event.
They could have used Sears Center or WoW Arena now. I don't care what it is, but literally, and this could have been funnier here. Ring of Honor all in, AEW all out.
Yeah, but you're going with so you're going with Andrade, but MJF is your Joker.
Actually, no. My Joker, Samoa Joe.
Okay, that's a good pick.
Fair.
He's been missing lately, and I thought he was coming back, actually.
I am going to go with Andrade as my winner, because I feel like regardless of the title change, you could do that match on a Dynamite, and it would be a match that people would be interested in, whether it's Punk or Moxley against Andrade. My Joker is going to be Lance Archer. The G1's over. He's back.
That's a real Joker.
Oh, if I hear everybody dies, I'm going to die.
Yeah, but Joker is Lance Archer. Andrade is my winner. The 11th match, according to Wikipedia.
We still got 3 more matches.
Halfway there, everybody.
Well, we're halfway there. At least
AEW
this is a match I'm excited for.
AEW Tag Team Championship match. The Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory. Easy, who you picking and why?
The Acclaimed.
You're picking the Acclaimed. Okay.
No further explanation needed. If they don't win, I will literally tweet, "Fuck you, Tony Khan."
See, I'm going to go in an opposite direction with this. I think Swerve in Our Glory wins because it is not time for the Acclaimed. It isn't time yet. Who have they beaten as a tag team that's really holy shit, they beat those guys?
The Ass Boys.
Exactly.
5 points.
Exactly. This is kind of at Backlash 2003. John Cena wrestled Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship, and John Cena didn't win, but he had a good showing, and it was kind of like, oh hey, John Cena can be a top guy one day after his performance in that match, and just everybody kind of really feeling what Cena was all about. That's kind of how I think this match should be for the Acclaimed. It's not their time yet, but here's where you can prove that the time will come.
This is the match that shows that they're serious. That, we've seen the funny side a lot, and we got a glimpse of the seriousness with the Ass Boys, but kind of still on the comedy side. This is where they show up and really have a great match, and this is like their MJF epiphany. Oh, holy crap, they're actually really good wrestlers too. So they're both. Huh.
Yeah.
That's cool. But they're not going to win.
They shouldn't, anyway.
They're not going to win.
But they should.
No, they shouldn't.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
I heard Geek say they should.
No. They're not yet. Give them like another year.
I'm going to quote DDP. I'm going to quote DDP from one of his many DDP yoga workouts. You know, yet. It's the yet that makes it possible. They shouldn't win yet. Next match.
Oh, actually, they did defeat SCU on their debut, so.
Okay, and I'm going to ask this, like, what has SCU been doing since then? Like, Christopher Daniels is a coach, Frankie Kazarian's on Dark.
Because fuck Jericho.
Next match is Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Easy! Who have you got and why?
Hold up, who was the first guy?
Ricky Starks.
Who again? Is there something? Who?
Sticky Rarks.
That's fine. Who that?
I don't know. I haven't seen him on TV lately.
Tony Stark.
I don't see him on TV enough. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
All right. Okay, so for real, my prediction: Powerhouse. Not saying that to piss off CJ, but I actually do think it's gonna be Hobbs because this will make Ricky a better person.
All right.
In WWE.
I really don't mind.
When he quits and joins his buddy
I really
Cody in
don't
the
mind that guy
WWE.
Powerhouse. Well, again, I'm gonna get to that rant later.
Yep, we will. A rant is coming, y'all. A rant is coming.
I just want to point something out here as I am on the official AEW website with their roster. Both of these motherfuckers are listed as of Team Taz.
Still.
Again, like, it's not a hill worth dying on, but how many people would be laughing at WWE if they still, like, did something like this? I'm just asking.
This is why I get frustrated with AEW, because we want to talk about how great they are at putting together the whole puzzle piece, and like, y'all, we got some corners missing off of this puzzle. The horse's face is missing. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but there are drop balls. And I feel like Ricky Starks is going to be the other drop ball, and I'm scared that Easy's going to be right, because he can't really afford a loss. Powerhouse Hobbs is a big dude, and he can get over a loss. Ricky really can't. He's kind of small. He's beautiful, and he's perfect. And I love him so much, but I'm scared.
Well, I am going to break trend, and I'm going to go with Ricky Starks because I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt of this is kind of a now or never moment for Ricky Starks. You're either gonna capitalize on something and give him this singles win on a pay-per-view after the promo he did last week. You're either gonna like start giving Ricky some opportunities, or thanks for coming, Ricky. Stamford's up north.
He either just gave Hobbs like the biggest push, which is such an indication of how good he really fucking is, or you're finally going to recognize that you already realize how good he fucking is and give him the push that he deserves, because it's not just me. This is not just me at this point realizing how great he is. Easy teases, but even he knows there's a star in this boy.
He's not a boy like OSW. He's not one of those boys. Hopefully with a win, he doesn't become a boy like in OSW.
You know, actually, I just thought of something. What if Starks challenges for the All-Atlantic Championship? I mean...
No.
Well,
we do not want the Ocean Spray Pacific title on him.
I mean, he made the FTW title kind of cool, even though it's a fake belt and nobody took it seriously. So maybe Ricky's got the power to make the All-Atlantic Championship pretty or something.
I don't think anybody has the the ability to make the All Atlantic Championship with the Japanese flag on it that's not anywhere near the Atlantic.
Oh, and not to mention the Chinese flag too.
He has the power to do. He could probably make it really relevant and cool. I don't want that. I want him to not have to work so hard to get things over. I want his recognition. God damn it.
Well, I guess the revolution is still building,
but it will be televised. It's just a matter of, is it going to be on TBS or USA?
Or worse.
Or Fox.
Or Fox.
I was going to say, or Fox. Oh, wait. If he goes to USA, would it be on the Monday or the Tuesday?
Oh, he's a Monday night, all night.
Yeah.
Are we sure about
that? I don't think at this point Triple H would put him in developmental.
Yeah. He's got a real good friend over there.
Well, I mean, we all hoped for Samoa Joe, but majority of his WWE career is on
Yeah, but here's the difference. Samoa Joe was signed when NXT was just a Triple H pet project where Triple H got to go like, hey, yes, some of these guys do need like help learning how to wrestle a TV style that they weren't previously used to, like the international talent or the indie guys or whatever. But some of them were just like, the only way I could probably get them in is if I put them in developmental, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. Like your Samoa Joes and
Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode and what have you.
Yeah, because they were so used to fighting in a 6-sided ring.
But Bobby Roode knew how to wrestle teeth. Like that is something that a lot of people don't consider. It's a tangent, but it is hard to adjust when you're used to wrestling an independent style where you play to a crowd and you have all the time you need and all these different things to having to adjust to a television style where they're like, hey, here's your camera, you got to play to that, and by the way, you got 8 minutes with your entrance. Go.
We saw that in the first year of AEW because they had so many indie guys that had never really wrestled on TV. There were a lot of gaps in some spots because they weren't used to having to be tight for cameras.
Yeah, so for some talent, and this isn't a slide on them, but for some talent, if you're going to, even though it could become a better product that we all enjoy, that's more reminiscent of wrestling we enjoy, there's still differences between wrestling on the indies and wrestling in WWE. Hell, when they signed Sin Cara, the original Sin Cara, Mystico, from, who's the biggest star in Mexico and was one of the biggest stars in the world, not in the WWE, and they put him on the main roster. I remember hearing interviews with, like, lucha legends like Conan saying they really need to put him in developmental because he did not know how to wrestle anything but the lucha style that he was used to, and it didn't work in the WWE. And he needed to go to a developmental brand where, like, okay, let's tune this to fit working to the camera and polish it up so you're more ready for this. It's what they did with Andrade. It's what they did with Nakamura even. He was used to New Japan. Like, I know it's not a lucha guy, but he wasn't used to having to do things the WWE way because he was so used to, hey, here's New Japan and here's their way. He was able to in NXT develop what was his style into something very, very good that could work with a different company. So, yeah, that's why Ricky already knows how to do that and do it well. So I don't really think he needs to... If he were to go to WWE, I don't think he would have to go to NXT. Not now. If Vince McMahon was still in charge, yes, he would. But not now. Tournament final for the AEW World Trios Championship. The Elite of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus TBD, because we're recording this before Rampage for the finals. CJ, who you picking and why? Who you think? Well, first of all, who you think it's going to be? Is it going to be Dark Order or Best Friends?
It's going to be the Dark Order.
Okay, now who are you picking in the Trios Championship match?
Some way on Sunday, my heart is going to break. So I'm just going to be really, really hopeful and say the Dark Order wins.
Okay. Easy,
I will
what about
shit
you?
a literal brick.
Easy, what about you?
House of Black. Oh, sorry. I forgot.
They're out.
I know. Anyways. So for TBD, unfortunately, I'm going to go with, as much as I still, like, Best Friends literally would have been the perfect trios champions, but Dark Order with Silver, Reynolds, and Hangman, because, okay, I'm still mad on how the fuck did you piss off Alan Angels, but anyways, as for champions, the Elite.
Yeah, I know you got to go with Dark Order because you kind of still have that Hangman, Kenny, the Elite story there, which is a good call. My heart says it's a better story and more to be. You're playing up the fact that Kenny still got some injury, still nursing some injuries and has rust. So, to me, it would make more sense to go with Dark Order to kind of have like a feel-good moment of Hangman and the people that always supported him winning the belts over the people that chose not to support him in the same arena 3 years ago. But it's the Young Bucks and it's Kenny Omega, and right, wrong, or indifferent, their fan base think these are the best wrestler ever and the best tag team ever. So we're going to go with them because that's what they do. That's just how it is. And I'm fine with the logic of that. For the record, I'm okay with the logic of it. I just am going to see a lot of people call this good that said that Cody Rhodes was burying everyone by winning the first TNT championship. And I'm going to go, isn't it funny how EVP's not making, good decisions for stories and elevating other talent. It's good to see how that crux of ethics changes when it's Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks compared, that wrestle the Dave Meltzer 5-star style compared to Cody Rhodes, who wrestles the NWA WWE style. That's all. It just don't have a problem with them winning. Don't have a problem whatsoever with the Elite winning. I get it. They're the trio that everybody loves, and you want to set the belts off, fine. I get it. But they're EVPs too, and, just... It's going to be funny seeing people who were once outraged by an EVP being a good choice to establish a new championship, and but still not being still being ethically wrong. See nothing ethically wrong with this, with the exact same situation that isn't a bad situation. But yeah, the Elite win. I need a drink for this one.
So we're finished, right?
Nope.
We should be finished.
We should be finished.
Yeah.
I should be saying something different. Or they should have gone about doing this next match in a much better way. But the main event is Jon Moxley versus CM Punk. CM Punk's winning. That's my prediction. He's going to win. It's Chicago. It's CM Punk. He's fucking CM Punk. He wins. Lol. Anybody want to pick Mox? Anybody here feeling froggy?
I feel like AEW, or just they would expect, everyone, including us, would think Punk's gonna win, because it's CM Punk. It's like, well, maybe not.
There's one dude in this company that beats CM Punk in Chicago, and it ain't Jon Moxley.
I was going to say,
Yep.
Well, there's one dude he's not in the match, but he could screw over Punk. I'm just saying it hypothetically, but...
I'd
love that.
I think if he comes back, then CM Punk has to be the champion.
Yeah.
Because he's the person to take that belt from CM Punk. Truly.
Yeah.
Even though Jon Moxley technically just fucking did.
And here's... So is it Punk across the board? Because now it's time to talk about what everybody is about waiting for.
I'll sadly say Punk, because, as much as I love the guy, it's like, it's going to lead into our rant, but my small preview is, well, you know what, just to quote Chris Jericho one night on AEW Dynamite, stupid idea from bad creative. And I don't care if this was Mox's idea that he wanted the belt in Cleveland and they're just going to do a hot potato here. It's like, no, it was a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll just save it for the rant.
I need some Longhorn for this rant.
My Cherry Coke's on standby.
No, you know what, CJ, you say your piece. I'm gonna save mine for the end.
You don't want to letting me lighten up the mood with some comic relief here. I'm just gonna say,
relief, and then we'll get to Roger and Ebert here.
Yeah.
It's on Ebert.
I don't really fucking understand why we had to do a 3-minute squash just to repeat it, just so that CM Punk can be like, gee golly whiz, guys, maybe I'm just not that good anymore. Like, look, CM Punk finally telling the truth here, you guys. He's not that good anymore. Except then we have this Billy Madison inspirational song moment, except they didn't sing. I expected them to fucking break into song because he's like, gee golly gee whiz, and then Ace comes out and he's like, you can do it, he drops a fucking F-bomb like he's on this show or something.
This was a good promo. I'm not going to completely player hate. This was a good promo.
The fucking promo because he's like, boo, 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 boo.
You know CJ, what? I didn't like it either. I'm just like,
the fired up crowd moment, that was not
you
bad.
You didn't have to do it.
Exactly. It was unnecessary.
None of last week had to happen. The beginning part didn't have to fucking happen. Or the beginning part could have still happened. Guys, I'm 100%. I feel 100%. But I know that it's a new 100%. Maybe I don't got it. Maybe I'm too old. He's been really good. He's taken on all comers. God forbid CM Punk fucking put over his opponent.
No, he's got to bury everybody that everybody get fucking pissed off about if their name was not CM Punk. If this were Roman Reigns, people would be pissed. If this were John Cena, people would be pissed. If this were Cody Rhodes, people would be pissed. If this were Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart, people would be pissed.
Well,
if this were fucking John, or Seth Rollins, everybody be fucking livid about
and
this.
The Rock and even fucking Brock and Roman know that if you beat a fucking nobody, if you put them down over and over and over and don't acknowledge any redeeming qualities about your opponent, you beat a nobody. You didn't beat anybody.
It's the Mick Foley logic, because Mick Foley said in his third autobiography that he didn't like how Triple H said that John Cena was a bad wrestler in their build-up to WrestleMania 22, ironically also in Chicago. Ironically, CM Punk in the entrance to that match, he said, okay, so what does that make you if you win? Average? What does that make you if you lose? Lousy?
Chris Jericho has said the same thing. He's like, you got to put over your opponent or else you didn't beat shit.
Now, it would have been one thing... It would have been one thing had, Punk came out there with his, let him do his burial promo. Let him fucking do his, he was the third best member of the Shield. Hermy-dermy-derm, ain't I great? And then, maybe have something happen where, in a brawl, he gets his ass kicked a little bit, and then he comes out in his hometown Chicago, and he's like, well, I'm having a small career, I got my ass kicked by John in the brawl last week, and, maybe it is a new 100%, maybe this, that, and the other, and then we can have the children's choir go, "We're going to help you, Punky. We're going to get you through in Chicago." And
Easy, legitimately, I had Billy Madison vibes from this promo. The song when Veronica comes and kicks
everything
his ass,
sends
and then they
AJ
break
Lee
into
coming
song.
out and
Billy
saying,
Madison
"Doesn't she have a
is
nice
so
rack?"
long.
like they did in Billy Madison. Everything
Go
except that. We
watch
didn't need
it
that.
because I looked at him. I told Geek, I'm like, I truly expected Doink to come out from under the ring and be like, "Hey kids, it's me. I bet you thought that I was dead."
I'm getting to my rant as soon as you're finished.
It would have been a better promo if Doink came out from under the ring. I'm just going to say it right now. And I don't fucking like clowns.
Yeah. Go on with yours. Do you have anything else you want to say?
I'm good. I think that's all I had to say.
You finished? Okay.
Go for it.
Yeah, you do yours. I'm saving mine for last because I've got a whole lot I want to say.
I know. All right, now for someone, everyone's got, their idols that they grew up with. And I'm just saying out there, your Hogan's, Hart, Michael, Cena, Rock, Austin. Mine was Punk. Not just because, I liked him as a wrestler, but again, for someone who has never drank, smoked, or done drugs in his entire life, I thought I was probably a crazy person that I don't do that. Punk kind of showed that, yeah, as an adult, you don't have to do that shit. And I fucking idolized that for that. And also, come on, no one, you can't go wrong with some Kill Switch Engage as your entrance music, man. As much as I like Cult of Personality, fire burns, it will, Kyle says it all, the fire will still burn. Anyways, back to the rant here. I said this last week, I said it the week before, and I'm gonna say it this week. This storyline makes no fucking sense. Creatively, artistically, kayfabe, real life, this makes no sense. I was happy to see a championship match between Mox and Punk because, hey, I actually thought I'm going to get something very competitive in Cleveland. Mox wins, and I have the most confused look on my face while wearing a Jon Moxley t-shirt thinking, what the fuck just happened? And then with Dynamite, which, my opinion, this was the worst Dynamite I have ever seen. Minus the main event, because fucking love Will Ospreay and the United Empire. But that was the worst Dynamite I've seen since Dark Order beating up the Young Bucks, and people are like, what the fuck is going on here? That's what I was thinking. And then with the promo, this was the first time I just wasn't excited about Punk. And also, if you're trying to sell a foot injury here, how about you sell a foot injury here? Say you actually can't compete. We've had a Punk-free pay-per-view before for Forbidden Door. I'm okay with a Punk-free pay-per-view at All Out.
And I'm gonna give you a hot take.
You're fine.
And I'm gonna lose subscribers saying this. CM Punk not being on Forbidden Door made the main event better. Because then Hiroshi Tanahashi wasn't just some guy coming into Punk's neighborhood as some bad guy. He was the ace of the universe wrestling Jon Moxley. And we got Ace versus Ace. And both got a hero's welcome. And it was good. And Tanahashi wasn't a de facto bad guy because he was wrestling Punk in Chicago.
And 4 years ago, all of us were speculating, is Punk going to show up at All In? And the answer was no.
And I don't blame him. If he didn't want to, I don't blame him. I'm not going to even, as much as I, have some issues with CM Punk that have bled into why I don't care to see CM Punk. If he didn't want to come to All Out or All In, that's on him, and that's fine. That's his bag. Go on.
Again, it's like, this literally would have been fine. And it also, this creatively, when I said it doesn't make sense, I'm actually being serious. It makes no sense how you get a foot injury back in June, you recovered it in August, okay, that's a good time to recover. Then you re-injure it last week, And then you say, well, you know, the X-rays came back, you know, they were fine and all that. It's like, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. No, I'm not buying it. It's either you re-aggravated the injury, which maybe it was like a nerve damage or something, I don't know, or a re-broken bone, then you have to be on the shelf for another few weeks. Because again, that makes no sense. And I am literally at this point losing faith with TK, and I've said this every time when we are on the show here, is if AEW fails, I am quitting pro wrestling, period. I don't care if WWE gets better again. It's like, okay, awesome, but just, hey, like, I commit my Wednesdays to watching Dynamite as much as I can because I fucking love the product. I love the brand. This is what I love and have been dying for. You know, God forbid if I was living during the WCW days, I literally probably would have had the same ordeal that WCW just got crap and I just can't watch pro wrestling anymore. But anyways, back on track here. There literally could have been better options for this. I would not have minded a rematch between Hangman and Mox. I wouldn't have minded Kenny Omega because Kenny Omega having a match with Mox. You know, we get another great rematch. It's just, this makes no sense. And unless this is actually leading into MJF coming back, because you know damn well he's going to be the champion by the end of this year, like, I just don't understand what creative logic. It's okay to have long-term storytelling and all that, but here's the thing. Tell us the fucking story. It's like if somebody was literally writing out a novel, they have their paper stacked up on the table, someone opens up the window by accident, and all the paper just goes flying everywhere, and you're trying to recover it back again. It's like someone messed up putting the pages back in order, and this is what exactly is happening. Something got lost in the middle, and we have no idea what the fuck the ending is. This is the first time I've not been excited for All Out because it's not giving me a reason to be excited for the main event. It's like WrestleMania 32 all over again.
The only thing making me excited about All Out is the potential of a real Jericho and Danielson match and Ishii and Eddie. That's what's getting me excited. That's what I meant. Personally.
When I'm saying, like, I'm not excited for, like, All Out, like, I mean, like, the main event.
Right.
This makes no sense. That if you were going to reward Cleveland with a title match, we should have had a legitimate match. And at least I made up for it with the, you know, United Empire versus Death Triangle, which you might see that match on my top 10 because that was fucking amazing. Mm-hmm. But, and also an awesome promo after the show. But anyways, I just can't understand where the logic is anymore. TK is, and you know, if people are going to say, like, well, this was Mox's idea from the start, it's like, well, whether it was Mox's idea or TK's idea, this still makes zero sense. Like, for once, you know, if Cornette or Bully Ray, they want an idea or a rant that this made no sense, I'm actually going to have to agree with them, because I've lost this here too.
Let's see here. Okay, so you're ready for me?
Yes, I'm finished, but I'll still watch All Out. I'll just most likely just be on my phone when the main event happens because I'm just like, okay, just tell me when MJF.
I've already warned CJ. I'm probably going to be on my phone a little bit and not to be mad at me about being on my phone for at least this match.
I do not want to hear.
You guys are going to be there in person. I'm going to be watching on TV,
and I might be on my phone. What does that tell you?
We will be taking a nap during this match.
We might, if it wasn't for the prospect of maybe MJF coming back, we would be leaving to beat traffic. But here's my rant. Here's my problem with all of this. And a lot of it is basically, once again, it's based on a precedent that has been set by this fan base. And when you know, collectively here on the good old IWC have spoke out against some of these precedents or played devil's advocate to people going against that, it's been bad. And there's a lot of angles to explore here. So get a drink, spit some dip, and here we go. First of all, if the match in Cleveland was done to pop a rating, cool. I am okay with that strategy and that logic and the result of CM Punk 2 weeks over 1 million. I am okay with that. I am okay if you're going in this direction because it's a proven ratings draw. Oh, there goes that. There goes the thing holding up the phone. I'll just use the water bottle. Okay. We've established that it's okay to do things that are ratings draws. You know what else is a ratings draw? You know who else is a ratings draw? Brock Lesnar. You know what I heard from, even before AEW, but kind of the elite, the Revolution fan base for a year? Why are we sacrificing good storytelling within the WWE to placate Brock Lesnar being champion? And all these sort of things. So, if we acknowledge, and again, if you just don't like Brock Lesnar and that's why you don't like it, that's cool. But, don't take well, I don't like Brock Lesnar because he's placated and good talent, good wrestlers lose their spot or don't have a spot, or the integrity of the belt or the integrity of stories are compromised because of Brock Lesnar, and then be okay with this. If even the money and the ratings that Brock draws is bad because of the integrity that has been compromised to do such, I feel, in my opinion, that the integrity of the title is being compromised. We mentioned Bully Ray and all the stupid shit that he has to say of, this is what they need to be doing. They need to change the belt here. They need to have him lose here, but then the very next TVs wins the belts there. And we're like, God, that's dumb, Bully. That's really dumb, because in AEW, we don't have a bunch of WWE-style automatic rematches, and we just saw this match, and this doesn't make sense from a story perspective to placate some kind of thing like that. We're AEW, goddammit. When Bully Ray suggested that Hangman Page lose at the pay-per-view, but win on Dynamite, when at the time it was pretty well firmly established that they didn't do that sort of thing. Hangman worked so hard for one title shot, and they established the integrity of how hard Hangman had to work to get a title shot. Why shit on that integrity of the story to do another rematch 3 nights later, like the WWE does? This is a Bully Ray idea. To have Mox win just so Punk can win it back a few weeks later, that's something that Bully Ray would come up with. Again, I'm okay with the logistics. I am okay with the idea of, let's pop a rating, let's draw a house, let's get a bigger reaction in Chicago. I'm okay with all of that. But all those things that, those are all the sort of things that Vince McMahon did, and we said, we're sick of that. Again, if you're okay with this because it's CM Punk, that's fine. But don't at me about, well, why are you standing up for bad writing from this company? Because this is bad writing to me too. And furthermore, why did Mox have to win the belt in Cleveland to tell this story? Why was that step included? Why? Why couldn't this whole thing been part of a bigger and better story that got told it all out? You could have had this whole match with, okay, here comes CM Punk. here comes CM Punk, here comes Moxley, and, okay, they're starting slow. Then Punk goes for a big kick and favors his foot, and then Jon Moxley, being the sadistic son of a bitch that he is, targets the foot, and oh no, how is Chicago's hero gonna make it back from this one? And fighting spirit and the power of his hometown crowd, he overcomes and wins. Why not just do that? Why have a title switch in there?
Like a bad episode of Dragon Ball Z. That's really the best comparison I could think.
I mean, that's not a bad story to tell. Just why'd you have to flip-flop a title? We were all collectively pissed off when the title belt went from Drew McIntyre to Randy Orton back to Drew McIntyre during the pandemic. We're like, why would you do that? Why not just let Drew see it out? Why do we have to give the belt to Randy for 2 weeks? Why? And I'm like, oh man, that's the integrity of the titles being kind of tarnished in WWE by doing that when they could just let Drew have a long epic reign. But instead, they're doing it here, and I don't get what was so necessary about having that match. Why did WCW put the belt on Lex Luger for 4 days, 5 days, having him beat Hogan when Hogan should have just held the belt and lost to Sting at Starrcade? Okay, yeah, Lex popped a rating, but oh man, it would have been so much bigger for Sting to just have stopped a year and a half long Hulk Hogan reign as part of the NWO. It's the same shit. You could have done all of that there. And one last little nitpick, but I'm not the only person that has a podcast or a YouTube channel making this nitpick, so unsubscribe from them too if you are and you're unsubscribing to me for this take. Jon Moxley leaves an open contract for an AEW world title shot in the middle of the ring, and nary a wrestler comes out except for Ace Steel to present it to CM Punk. Why was there not other wrestlers going, fuck yeah, title shot?
I was waiting for a 24/7
You don't have to play it for laughs and comedically like they do with the 24/7 title, but okay, this is a world title shot being handed to somebody on a silver platter. Why is non-wrestler Ace Steel the only one to run out and get it for CM Punk?
Fucking Danhausen could have crawled out of the ring and steal it. That would have been a better rating.
And unless somehow this contract plays into MJF inserting himself into the match, which probably isn't, but something of that nature where we get a big oh moment. Why didn't anybody else come to the ring? This
is kind of hilarious when your own hometown is chanting, "Who are you?" I literally had no idea who the hell is that.
I mean, I know who Ace Steel is, and that's something else. They've never established truly who Ace Steel is and what he means to Punk. Again, kind of going back to one of my big nitpicks of AEW is well, you should already know what this is, because if you're watching AEW, you're a real wrestling fan. Some people weren't watching Ring of Honor in 2004 to know who Ace Steel is. There is something there that could be a well-told story. There are things there that I understand why they're doing it, and I don't have a problem with the logic and the reasons why. What I have a problem with is how now all of a sudden this is okay. This kind of stuff is kind of what we were rebelling against. When 4 years ago we were all in and we didn't want no logic world title matches and hot potatoing belts and the belts meaning nothing. We didn't want that. We didn't want that. That's why 11,000 of us...
The match, it wasn't logical, but it was still fun.
Which match?
Well, the Ring of Honor. It was Lethal and Flip Gordon.
That made more sense than this.
It really did. That was actually a long-term storyline building to why aren't the Elite booking Flip? That's because Cody hated Flip.
Yeah. So, like, to me, when I see this, you know,
There
this
were
isn't...
storylines from BTE that made more sense leading into All In.
When I see this happening and I see, you know, everything that the revolution was built on, you know, giving into some of those tropes, I get you got to give into those tropes sometimes. I get it. You know, this is no longer a let's see if we can do this. This is no longer an internet show going, well, let's just see if we can get 10,000 people. It's a show with sponsors and TV contracts and, you know, bigger stars that you're going to have to placate and make happy. I am okay with some of that being compromised. What I'm not okay with is now all of a sudden, okay, well, this logic was bad when what we didn't like, you know, what we didn't like did it, but it's okay when AEW does it. You know, if it's just a matter of you don't like it when WWE does it because you didn't like Brock or you didn't like celebrities or you didn't like Ronda Rousey or you didn't like whatever, okay. But then don't fucking get all willy-nilly and bent out of shape when they do it, when they're doing... AEW is doing the exact same story for the exact same reasons WWE did those things. That's it. You know, the Woodstock era is over and it's a business where you got to make ratings. And if that means hot potatoing belts, sure, go for it. But it meant that some of the old way of thinking, at least, and the old things that, you know, some of the things that we didn't like, we now see as a necessary evil that we got to do to get the 1 million viewers to set up these sorts of things for pay-per-views. You know, and especially the belt switches hands again, which it's gonna. Okay, then that means there was a 10-day reign for Jon Moxley? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 12 days, you know?
That's going to go as the shortest title reign for AEW.
Yeah. Like...
Especially for someone who's the first two-time champion. Let's keep that in mind, too.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
I mean... I'm not going to say, yes, I have a bias against CM Punk, and I'll concede it. And, you know, if you don't take my opinion on this situation seriously, because it's been well documented that I don't care for CM Punk, okay, I respect that. But trying to keep a fair conversation and a fair criticism and a fair discussion of the product going, like, what makes, other than this being the company that we all kind of feel like we see ourselves in, especially, you know, people like EZ and I that were there 4 years ago, that were there at that show, you know, what makes us any different? You know, that's it. You know, it's a fine match for Chicago. You know, it's going to be a big moment when Punk wins. You know, Punk winning the title again in front of his hometown crowd and overcoming his injury. That's fine. I don't understand how this couldn't have been done with just no title switch in between. I
was going to say, like, wait a minute, didn't we had implications before of certain wrestlers staying away from each other and not laying a finger? Like, Mox and Eddie Kingston had that stipulation during the pandemic era. Their match was friggin' awesome.
Well, it's, you know, I understand it, and I don't have a problem, but it could have been a lot better. Especially for fans in a company that prided and bragged on being better. And that's all I got to say. And I believe that's the show. So thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate if you're still subscribed, because I'm pretty sure this has pissed a significant amount of people off. If you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe for more content, not just from the world of pro wrestling, but from the world of comic books, gaming, anime, and all things geek culture. Enter the contest for the chance to win fabulous prizes. First place will get a t-shirt, a DVD, a comic book, an action figure, and if you beat my predictions, you will also get a free poster. And enter on my social media pages, facebook.com/athleticgeeka9, Twitter, athletic_geeka9, Instagram, athleticgeeka9. If you would like to give us money, which probably people really don't want to do now, I'm on Patreon, patreon.com/athleticgeeka9. CJ, do you have social media still?
I do. I'm on Twitter, of course, at CJTeamall0.
And EZ, social media, if you please.
The Twitterverse. You can follow me at Eric Zarin, ZRIKZARINS. Shout out to the Podcast Wrestling Federation, which, by the way, my other podcast buddies, they actually kind of might agree with us, because they too are wondering, this makes zero fucking sense. So yeah, and also Geek's birthday present will finally be arriving next week, as I had some setbacks. So there will be an unboxing for you guys, and I think you'll like it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. So enjoy that, you fucking Mark.
Indeed, fucking Mark. It's what we are.
Yeah, and also have fun it all out. And
yeah, but it's still, I still, all this issue aside, I still always get a excited feeling, this time of year, even though I'm not a big fan of the city of Chicago in the slightest, I always get the excited feeling knowing that I'm going back to the same building where I had a lot of fun 4 years ago. But for CJ and EZ, I am the Athletic Geek. We are just Marks, and we're out. Y'all have a good one.